So we're in London's Excel Centre. We're at the AI Summit. I'm here with Mark from Tractica. Mark, good to see you again.
Hi Ray, how are you?
Good, very good. And very excited to hear that you are updating your AI and telecoms report, and you've been working on that recently, leading up to publication in a couple of months' time. Mm-hmm. What has been changing in terms of how AI is being not only adopted but viewed within the telecom sector?
Right. Well, Ray, thanks for that. I'd first tell you we're at the early stages of our interviews, but I will tell you that what sparked a lot of interest last year, as you can well imagine, had to do with the automation of using AI for network operations and management.
Right.
So that really just, people kind of descended on us when we started talking about that. It's very complex, as you know. It has to do with getting the NFV and SDN and those being big drivers for things. And last year, where we heard a little bit of what we're trying to get to from these biggest vendors, now I see like real kind of blueprints.
Right.
Really kind of, okay, here's what we think, here's what we want to do. You're still sorting through those very individual use cases. So if you think about all the different things you could do that would automate the network, that what it might end up doing with service assurance or predictive maintenance or just network design, lots of different things going on.
Yeah.
But now it feels more real, which makes sense. You're a year further down the road, and these biggest vendors have their stories coming together.
Okay. And do you get the sense also that there's that the way that telecom has changed, that there's a greater confidence that the information that can be used by the AI tools is the veracity of that data
yeah.
is appropriate for an AI scenario, essentially, because that's been a massive
yes.
issue for years in telecoms.
It really has, hasn't
we're
it?
so great, 80% of our data is accurate.
That's right.
Oh.
Well, so two things. What we found from the study before, and now we're going to keep looking at this, is it's so complex. These are the most complex networks in the world. They're pulling together all this data, very difficult to get under the sheets to see what it really can do.
Yeah.
And they're under regulations and all these kinds of things. So I think there's a wish, that we want to get to where these things will work. But there's also some friction. So on the enterprise, on the carrier side, I think there's a wish that we could open this up a little better.
Right.
So open source kinds of things. I don't want to be tied to one vendor. I don't know where my future is necessarily. So there's some friction. And I think that the vendors, but it's a weird friction because the carriers aren't that innovative. I'll just say that.
They rely on the ecosystem for the innovation, largely.
They do.
Yeah.
So you can't have it both ways.
Yes.
You can't really say, oh, well, I need you to be open, but I really need you to develop that.
I can understand that as somebody who always wants to have my cake and
eat it too.
I can get that.
That's right. So if you think about players in the space, we kind of saw very difficult for disruptors to enter the space.
Right.
You think about network management and trying to bring that in. Very difficult.
Yes. Yeah.
So, they're going to rely on these bigger players to help them. Now, that might be a negotiation.
Okay. It's a fascinating area, and one of there's no doubt in my mind the two biggest topics right now in the technology or in the ICT world are AI and 5G. Mm-hmm. And bring the two together, and
right.
you have a real extra hot topic.
You do, and one thing that we found with that, just to jump on that real quick, is when you start doing, you talk about network slicing, and now you marry AI to that because it's almost impossible for humans to do it.
Yeah, it is. Totally. Absolutely.
Can't do it. So they're going to have to figure out a way to automate it. You've got to drive down the costs, and it's literally too many network slices to manage by engineers. It's going to have some automation.
Absolutely. This is where it's going. Hopefully we won't be automated, and we will be back here again next year talking about how things develop again.
Because we're creative.
Well, Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Ray.